Good morning and welcome to Trading with Larry. I'm joined by, as I always am every day, Eric Chamala with me. There he is. Look at him. Dude, clean shaven, living the
Really?
Florida lifestyle. I think he's
Yeah,
somewhere
it
in
was great to
Florida.
see you. It was great to see you guys yesterday, and Florida's really nice. What could I say?
Yeah, no
It's a
taxes,
little too
baby.
nice. When you come from New York and you come to Florida, you're like, wow, it's a little too nice.
No taxes. No taxes. So no state tax for sure. And behind me is our crack analyst, Thomas Maples, Thomas T. Touchdown. In early this morning, he was scouring the charts early this morning, about 7:30 a.m. So I think he's awake, ready to go. And yesterday was another another basic crazy one, up then down, then back at the end, and then overall, the straddle paid off, but again, we did move more than the straddle price of $29 like three different times during the day. So those things you have to really be right on direction. Coming into today, um, overnight, we had Nvidia's earnings, which somehow it's weird. Um, all these companies are coming out and sort of missing, um, or making the numbers and then saying they have no guidance moving forward. Best Buy this morning, etc. And somehow Nvidia has guidance and can see the future in a market that is probably the most regulated, crazy market ever. That's a real commodity market. But Jensen pulled it off again. Stock, it was interesting. We looked at the straddle yesterday, and it was pricing in about 6.9% move by the option pricing, and the stock right now is up 5.5%. So the straddle priced it right, inside of the 6.9. And again, Nvidia is back near the highs of the entire move and has a market cap almost the size of the Japanese stock market, okay, which is thousands of companies. Um, I think, what is the DAX? Did we look at the valuation, Thomas, of the DAX? I don't know, but it's close to that, if not more than that. And it's an amazing thing that one company carries that much weight. And with what's going on in the world, which we're going to get to, which I love, I'm like, got a smile on
Yeah,
my,
I can't believe you didn't lead with that today.
I got a smile on
You
my
lead
face.
with Nvidia after
I'm
everything that
leading with
happened
the
there.
I'm
You're
leading with
leading
the
with
taco
Nvidia.
trade. Trump is chicken, as you know what, to
Oh,
put
you
on.
love calling him Taco now. That's his name now, Taco.
Trump always chickens out.
Oh
Okay,
my
and
God.
they put it out in the press conference. The guy like literally was like, "That's nasty," coming from the nastiest of nasty. So it's an amazing thing. And then throw on top of it, the court basically stopped tariffs on everything other than steel and something else. So tariffs are basically in pause mode in every way. And if you really look at it, you segued me from Nvidia, which I appreciate. But if you look at it, if you look at it, okay, this these countries knew. It's kind of like what we talked about many times on the air here. I said, if Trump wanted what he really wanted and wasn't chickening out of everything he was doing and saying. And, there's another thing out there with Putin where he's given Putin, since the day he's been in office, 2 weeks to make peace. And every time they get him, and last night he was on saying it again, Putin knows he has 2 weeks. So it's been 2 weeks for 4.5 months or whatever. So his bluster is coming back to haunt him right now. And these
Yeah.
countries are geniuses. They're just waiting them out. they're going to wait him out. China's not doing a deal. They're just waiting. There's no deal. We're now 4 weeks in. No meetings, no deal. Um, the EU played hardball. He called them. And basically, they didn't budge. He came out and said he's not negotiating. And 2 days later, he takes the tariffs off and waits another month. I mean, what is going on? What do you make of this? Like, my thought is you put max tariffs on day one, make them feel the pain, make them, squirm to do a deal, and get inflict some ire in their eyes,
Yeah,
and sure that they're feeling it. No one's feeling anything because there really are no tariffs and no one knows what they are or what they're on. So we're in a almost a tariff free zone, for all these countries, and I don't know what's going on here. And my better question is, how do they collect the tariffs? How do they actually know? They got guys there with a little piece of paper going, two BMWs on this ship, three Mazdas, I mean, come on. This is crazy town. And, he's
well,
being called out.
supposedly they collected about 16 or 15 billion a month in tariff revenue
I don't know. It's been 2 months. That doesn't sound like a lot of money. I
per
mean, when
month.
Nvidia
Per month.
when Nvidia is worth more than the whole German stock market, okay, than the German DAX and whatever. I mean, how is that even impactful? You got
I have a question. Are they going to have to give this? Are they going to have to refund this tariff revenue?
nah, I don't think they're giving it back. Then, you can't force anybody to give it back. I mean, so I don't think they're giving it up. I just think I don't know what to think. You haven't seen Besson. Besson hasn't said a freaking word. Okay.
You
I
know
don't
they're
even.
coming out soon with stuff.
Well, what are they going to come out with? He's going to scream and yell that it's unfair and they can't do it and da 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 da.
Well,
But
they're
the
going to
truth,
appeal. I mean, they're going to try to take this to the Supreme Court, but
okay. So what does
I
that
think the
mean?
damage is done. If
Well,
you're
what does
another
that mean?
country, what?
They're going to take it to the Supreme Court in what, 3 years, 2 years, or whatever. You got to go through multiple courts, I would assume, before you get there.
I'm
Um,
sure they could
And this
expedite
is,
this,
I don't think the
given
Supreme
the.
Court, I don't think the Supreme Court is going to hear this. This is zero. Dude, this is the violation of a emergency act that was giving power to the president, okay, for reasons that he shouldn't have used the power, which he really shouldn't have. But really, let's overlay this to the market, which I think is important for people out there today. Look at look at the S&P. It was up 100 plus when I went to sleep, and now it's up 40, and there's a pretty good chance that it's going to be negative and potentially have a really bad day, because you want to know what? This isn't that good. Nvidia is fully priced for over perfection. And if I was long that stock, which I would be happy if I was long it, I'd be hitting bids. Okay, I mean the market cap on this stock is $3.5 trillion. Okay, and it's added another, 200 billion dollars today, or 170 billion, which is more than like 350 of the S&P 500 companies. It's insanity. Okay, um, listen,
I don't
there.
know. That to me that doesn't bother me as much as the market. I think misinterpreting what this court order really will entail and what the
Well,
effects are going
what
to
is
be.
it? What does it
Well,
entail?
the initial reaction was like, I mean, Nvidia was whatever. All it did after the earnings report was just go back to the high of the range from yesterday, which was very tight to begin with. So to me, it was kind of like a nothing burger effect on the market. I mean, the big effect was that I don't want to say the market reacted to it. I think the algos reacted to the court order as they always do, and I think it was a big misinterpretation yet again. They have no idea what's going to happen, and they're viewing this as
Yeah, but
this
it's what we
like it's
always.
over.
Yeah, but always talk about this. It's not about that. It's about location. So location was 6,000 at one point. Now
Exactly.
we're 55 to $60 lower. Okay, so it's location. Like we're still up
Trade
4.
location.
Right, we're still up 40. We shouldn't even be up. But the reason we're up 40 is because we were up 100 and now we're coming in and we got to go through levels. Again, PCE came out today. It was basically in line, a tick better, quarter over quarter. So, inflation basically is running, hot. They're accepting that. I don't know why. And, it's
They're
not much.
accepting that. I mean, initially they accepted it, and then it sold off again.
Yeah. And GDP annualized was negative, negative 2.2. I just think we're in a conundrum right now. And the market, listen, the market is pricing for total perfection. Um, I'm happy about it because I'm launching an ETF in the market very, very shortly again. Um, and I think I'm going to have really good location to put on the positions that I think are going to be beneficial uh, in the marketplace. So that being said, I got my fingers crossed, that we kind of hold up. I'm not thinking that we will, but like you said, it's kind of an overreaction, but you're not trading human beings. You know, you're trading computer algos that read a headline and think it's worth 100 spoo handles when it's really not worth a lot because,
Yeah,
like,
but price, yeah, that's what the algos do, and they could be wrong, they could be right. Um, but it so affects traders' minds in such a big way. As soon as, and I was just looking at Twitter constantly every 2 minutes, trying to kind of get everybody's pulse. And initially, you couldn't find a bearish argument after that initial reaction. You couldn't find any
why?
bearish argument.
Why?
As the market started to come back in, then you started to see some bears start to come out. So this stuff, these algos, I
Dude, what
feel
do you
like,
got? Like one bear? You can just call me right now. I'm
yeah,
bearish.
that's the
Yeah,
biggest
just
bear ever.
well, I'm not the biggest bear, but I definitely am negative on where the market is relative to environment. But we have a weird trade. Like you look at gold last night. First of all, you should be retired right now. Okay. The bottom line is you sold the high and bought gold down $70 from where it is. And you should be upgrading to the Four Seasons right now from wherever you're at.
Harry, I'm just
Okay.
waiting for you to give me the right account, baby. Let's
What are
go.
you talking about? You got an account. You got to make it work. But you had the highs on S&P on a short side and gold, which reversed like $70. It's leading me to believe that the market's going to have some trouble here. But even we're at 59.43 on the S&P. I mean, that's a crazy level. Crazy level. We're up 1100 S&P points from the tariff panic um, a month and a half ago. So I don't know. I think there's, going to be some good trading, hopefully today. You're going to hear from Trump about this, I'm sure. I mean, I just thought
Big
it was
time.
hilarious yesterday that he was pissed off about the taco trade. Um, Dude, listen to me. It's so obvious. Listen, you got a bunch of traders, retail, institutional, that know the guy is fake and chicken of everything. What do you think the countries think? They're not silly. They're like, we're just
Yeah,
going to sit here and wait.
this is not a good look for us.
No,
The-
because we
Everything
keep
Trump
saying it
wanted
on this
to do,
podcast. He's
from the election and the past 6 months of since his presidency, he's been putting these tariffs on, and with a wave of the magic wand, a U.S. court can just X everything out. All these countries are probably thinking we're a clown show.
Dude, he is Xing these things out. Come on. He gave them he rolled the tariffs back to July after putting them in for 2 weeks, not even. Okay? He's the guy doing all this. Stop. He's the guy. Yeah, the court is holding it up, and what he did is probably unconstitutional because this is not a national emergency. Okay? Fentanyl coming in is not a national emergency. They
Whoa,
use
I
this.
would disagree. I would
Okay.
disagree.
I know, dude. You know a lot about fentanyl. You know what's coming in. Okay. I mean, come on, dude. It's ridiculous. Drugs are getting in this country and are already made in this country without whatever you think is coming in from Canada. Okay. I
Well,
mean, people,
China's pumping it through Mexico, and
okay, I
come
do. Yeah.
on.
And we can't stop it, right? We have to tariff them to stop it. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. But whatever, I'm gonna go with what you think. You're in this mindset that whatever. It's it's ridiculous. This is on us. Okay, I was talking about it again last night. I was in Japan, and I know I'm beating a dead horse. I mean, how come they don't have these problems? I mean, no, literally. They have other problems, but they don't have these problems.
Well, take
It's
the good with the bad. We have a lot of good that they like. This country
we
has a
have
lot of
so
untapped
many
potential.
we have so many homeless people in this country. We have
Yes.
so many people
Yeah.
suffering from mental illness that we're not taking care of any of these people, okay? And they need to be taken care of. And listen, I'm not a socialist and I'm not a communist and whatever, but it's a big problem, and it's not fentanyl coming in from Canada or Mexico. They could shut that down to zero and we still are going to have problems. So
Yeah, but
I don't
I
really
would
want to
say
get into it.
drug use and the dismantling of U.S. manufacturing is very correlated.
Dude, nobody wants to be in manufacturing in the United States. Okay. You got workers that don't want to work. You got, all kinds of stuff. We're in a different world. I don't know how you don't see it. In Asia, they're happy to work. They're accepting of what it is. And here, everyone wants to be a Bitcoin millionaire. You know, just buy something, sit in your underwear at home, and watch it go up. I was getting text yesterday from someone. I don't even know. I got to look at my text, and I wouldn't disclose who it is. He's like, I made 300% on giraffe coin. I mean, come on, dude. It's a
That's a
literal.
good one.
I know. I'm
What's
just
the
saying,
ticker?
it's
I'm
a
going to buy it.
literal joke. That's our society. We don't want to. You think someone wants to work a minimum wage job making iPhones? Is that what you think people want in this country? You're going to
Uh,
fill up factories like that? I mean, come on, Eric. Our country is so past that. And if you're making minimum wage, you can't even get by because our prices are so high for actual things. So I really want to talk more market and not get into that. But I think that, we have issues. And listen, if we could bring manufacturing back here, you think Donald Trump is the only guy that could do it by putting on tariffs? It would be a natural. A company would go, hey, listen, I want to build a plant in Wichita, Kansas. They can't. It's too expensive to build, and the labor is too expensive. What are you not seeing about that? And how is tariffs going to turn that?
I
So
think
pure
I think
manufacturing is
focus
not
on
going
education. Uh, it's not just about manufacturing. I mean, the big industry is tech now. I don't
but
know. I feel like this
he's
country's
talking
got a
about
lot of untapped
manufacturing.
resources.
He's talking about manufacturing. And then to throw a wild card in, let's talk about this. Why do they want Taiwan Semiconductor sitting in the desert in Arizona, getting all of our intellectual property on the ground and getting our best employees? It makes no sense. The whole thing makes no sense. It's a bizarre thing. It's just a thought. But at the end, this is all going to backfire. It may take 6 months, it may take a year, but this is all going to backfire, and you're going to see this thing unravel in a
Well,
fairly big way.
so
For
how do you see this playing out? Let's talk about markets, but this is directly what happened last night. I think directly is going to impact markets. And do you think he's going to, if he can't get tariffs, do you think he's going to choose a different battlefield to get what he wants?
I don't know really. I don't think he knows what he wants. When you say what he wants, why is if he wants tariffs, why is he taking them off? I'm just trying to understand. If you can answer that, he said max tariffs, came out with all these boards and this and that for 150. I mean, that's a lot of effort. Okay. And then 2 days later, they take it down. Okay.
That
So
was
my
surreal when he took
question,
that board out on Liberation Day, and line item one was China, and then the market just started tanking. It
I
was a surreal
understand, but
kind of
then the
thing.
market came back because they know Taco is in town. Basically
So after
Taco
he
is
got
not
called Taco, I think he answered your question. He's like, "Well, I start high and then I go lower. It's called negotiation." That was what
Eric.
he said.
But who's he negotiating with? Nobody gave him another price.
It's the
He's like
funniest thing ever.
150% tariff. Ah! And then he's like, okay, 70. Well, who are you negotiating with?
It's like
It's bizarre. It's
when I
actually
saw that after he got called Taco, I was like, it reminded me of when you walk into like a electronics store, like and you see price tags really high, and then right under that it says sale 50%. It's very similar to that, and I can't believe he
I
actually
don't think it's
said that
similar.
to
I think it's
everyone.
worse. I think it's worse than that. I mean, that you kind of know what it is, but this you don't have any idea. You don't understand. Tomorrow he can go 50% tariff, 75 now, or 25. I mean, why can't we just put the tariffs on and see what happens? What is so hard about doing that? Put the tariffs on, you want them on, see what happens, make people feel it, okay? You got to feel it. You got to feel a little pain. So let people feel a little pain, okay? And then come to the negotiating table and make your best deal. But the bottom line is they can't do that. The administration cannot do that because you're taxing your own people, okay? You're taxing us. Our prices are going up. So inflation would skyrocket, which we've been talking about, okay? And that's why, in a way, bond prices have not gone up and yields have not gone down because of this. So that's
By the way, the stock market isn't the only thing that kind of reversed yesterday. Everybody started getting excited. Oh, now with the court order, finally the dollar is coming back, and the dollar reversed the move, the euro reversed the move, rates reversed the move.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think that we're at basically high levels. Listen, can we go higher? Anything is possible, but I think the market is, giving people here a second life, and the story of the year has not been written. Bond yields ticked above 450 last night off of that move, and right now they're 447. Now I don't know if people are getting excited that bond yield moved 3 bips, which is not a lot, but we're ticking around 450, and that's the Mendoza line. That's the line in the sand. And yesterday, I got a call from CNBC to speak about this exact point about what's going on in the bond market. If you look at Japan, you stayed up all night for that bond auction. That bond auction was a failed auction, and
Came
you
right
know
back.
but rates are ticking higher across the world and here as well, and that's not positive in an environment where you're seeing flat to lower GDP. You're seeing inflation on the price level, etc. So these are things that are concerning. Again, I'm leaving the gold trading to you for now. I literally can't see it because I don't know what it's looking at. Again, reacted last night lower off of this tariff announcement. Gold got down 40, 50, and now is up 20, 30. So it's rallied $80 on the commodity, and really not a lot has happened. The S&P has pulled in, 1% maybe from the high tech. So there's a lot of divergences out there. Again, I'm short the market. It's been a little bit painful, but our trading size is down very low. We're not adding to positions. We're just sitting. We had an opportunity last week off of this UK tariff to almost be all the way back when the S&P got down to 5800 or 5810. We're back, 150 points, which is only 2.5%, but it's sentiment. When we're down on that low or the lower band, everybody gets nervous, and then when we tick back up, nobody seems to be nervous, and the story has not been written here in my mind. And it's funny, as a trader for my whole life, for 40 years, you always have egg on your face when you're not right for the moment. And people in trading need to be right like instantaneously. It's funny. I keep telling people, trade smaller, give yourself a little more duration, meaning time, and let the trades develop a little bit. And it just seems like that just doesn't happen. It's an instant gratification trading market, which, listen, we want to make money every single day, but it's not possible to do that. And what happens is, and I've discussed this many times on podcasts and interviews, you got to learn money management, and you got to learn how to do this, because if you're right on 50% of the trades, you should be making a lot of money because of the way you use your risk discipline. So people out there should just understand that. And the markets are, listen, higher volatility is good for trading strategies. Vol is down at like 17, 18, down from like 50, 60. I mean, we had incredible vol and we crushed it up, in February, March, and April, or into the beginning of April. And now we're sucking on some long volatility, as volatility is coming in and direction is changing. So, that's where we sit. Um, I do think, bonds are in no man's land. I would keep an eye on that. That's important. That's an important trade for the market. So keep an eye on that. Dollar, which we were focused on, got above 114, now is 113.40, reversed a little of the move today and is ticking. Dollar's getting weaker right now, and the British pound is back above 135. It's strange. There's so many divergences here. Yesterday it looked like Bitcoin got down to like, it's Bitcoin, like I said, is not really a trade as far as percentage movement. It's just too high priced to move that much. But it got down to 106. Then the positive news comes out, or the perceived positive news, and it ticks up to 108. When it looks like it's about to fall off the cliff. Um, MSTR, which we are short, was looking horrendous, and even after the close was looking lower. And then today, is higher, but not a lot, only 1% higher. So we think there's more downside there. Um, Apple looks interesting to me. I think if it rallies, it's a short. I think, a lot of this Trump tariff stuff and him going after Apple, stocks back to 203, got down to like 190, low 190s. So there's good, trading around the market, but overall, we need today. I think if we go negative, could be a very interesting day. And to go negative is not a big deal. It's only 40 points. So to go negative today sets up an interesting trade. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's what I'm seeing, and you're kind of seeing the same kind of trade. The Dow's really not up, Nasdaq's up a lot, and the S&P is in between the Dow and Nasdaq. So we're going to look to fade the opening, a little, um, but go a little bit higher than the market, and hoping that we go negative. And if we go negative today, I think today will be the first day that will add to short positions in technology. Again,
I
vol
like
is very low and it's very difficult. Um, like like you look at Nvidia, back to 142, like what's the trade there? Even if you get short, it's like a zero, like the vol is so low, it's hard to make money, and now earnings are out of the way, and the stock is definitely, in our mind, or my mind, is fully valued at a market cap way more than like all of the EU big countries. So There's
In a
massive.
situation like that with Nvidia, you mentioned vol is really low. Like, how do you make money with options? Would you ever do in a situation like that where vol is really low, sell a deep in the money put spread? Sorry, call spread, deep in the money call spread on Nvidia.
Well, what do you mean by deep in the money?
So a call spread that is almost already at max loss, like, take a 15-point spread, try to get about $10 for it.
Yeah, I think I don't like that trade. Um, you're probably better off buying puts because if that spread goes in the money, your puts are going to be worth more. And these, you'd have to go very, very deep in the money to get something that's close to max. Because basically by selling that call spread is inherently the other side of that is the put spread. So just price the put spread, you know?
Yeah, just a little bit less capital
Yeah.
to put in on the in the monies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't imagine that we're going to hear anything that's going to be positive for the market coming out of the administration over the next couple of days and into the weekend, right? I mean, what are they going to say? Yes, we agree with the court. It's all over. We're sorry for the last 6 months of
No, it's just it,
constant tariff headlines.
what do you mean? It's a smokescreen. That's all. It just puts more crimp in what, he's not going to listen to anyone. I mean, he could have five courts telling him that he's not listening. It's not a matter of that, Eric. We don't listen. I'm I'm really tired of coming on the show and saying the same thing as far as there are no tariffs. Like no one knows what the tariffs are. They're all over the board. One day there's something, the next day there's something else. There's no consistency. No one knows what the tariffs are, which are worse. And that's why these companies are coming forward and shutting down their businesses and not giving forward guidance and not knowing what's going to happen because they don't know what it is. It's a non-consistent thing. It's a joke. Just put on the tariffs or do what you're doing and stop taking them, putting them on, taking them off, putting them on, taking them off, moving them 3 months, moving them a month. Why did he have to move them? Why? Why did he move them? You know why? Because he's Taco Bell. He's Mr. Taco. He's chicken of himself. I
Yeah,
mean, come on. Your whole point is you want countries to do the right thing. To make them do the right thing, you've got to inflict some type of pain or some type of situation that gets them moving. They don't have to move. They're doing the opposite. They're hiding. They're like, you know what? We're not going to call Trump for another month. Whatever. It's all fine. We're fine.
yeah,
It's a
that's
joke.
exactly the attitude, I think.
Right. So how does he change that? By putting max tariffs on.
Yeah,
Then they're running to the door. But it's what I said to you earlier. They, if this was real, they'd be lining up outside the White House with big briefcases of deals to be done. They're like, we're not going to talk to this guy. No reason. Let's see what he does. And he hasn't done anything. And it's actually upsetting, disheartening, and it takes the pure trading out of the market. And you want to know what? This taco trade actually lays up, I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, and it could be a conspiracy theory. I believe he's laying people up, meaning like he comes out negative, he tells everyone he's going to be negative, and then he comes out, tells people 2 days before he's taking tariffs off or pausing them or making them better to basically buy. And in the taco trade, they're saying that's what's going on. They're tipping the market off or tipping off the players that they want of what they're going to do. And it's actually crazy, you know? So I'm tired of the tariffs. It's only been what, 2 months? I mean, it feels like it's been 2 years on, off, this, that, this guy cheated, that guy. Just wait. You haven't seen anything.
I feel like we're just beginning, and I feel like if he can't use tariffs, he's going to try to use something else. So we're probably
Well, why can't he use tariffs?
in inning two
I know, but why can't he use it?
because of the court. They
He's not
gotta
listening to that. No chance, no way. Okay. So there's no way he's listening to that. This guy has lost more lawsuits than any person probably in America, and he's never lost. Okay. He's lost, but he never lost. He's never paid. Come on. You know how this guy is a genius in gaming the system. So I don't think tariffs are coming. You think they're rolling back tariffs right now? Okay.
no. Well, if they're forced to, I think they're just gonna do something else.
Well, how are they going to be forced to? The court made a ruling, and he could do whatever he wants. I mean, he's the president. He'll say, "Oh, Rule 15C23." From
Right.
1832,
Yeah.
when
I mean, laws are only as good as
I
your
understand, but
lawyers.
Eric, at the end of the day, he's not even putting the tariffs on. That's what makes this so crazy. He wants tariffs, but he's afraid of tariffs, and he won't put them on. Dude, he rolled back the tariffs. He rolled them back. Why did he roll them back 90 days after he put them on?
I guess he says that's his art of the deal or something.
Art of what deal? He didn't talk to anybody. He panicked. He tacoed out. I love this. I'm using
Yeah,
taco.
taco's great.
He tacoed out.
Taco's so good.
I love that, and I love, I
Tacos,
love, I
it's
love
like
the
it should
Putin.
win a Nobel Prize for
I
economics.
think maybe we should get our production staff to put together the Trump 2 week thing where he goes, Putin has 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks. It's like the craziest thing. I mean, Putin is bombing the hell out of Ukraine, and we have zero control. And I don't know how no one could see that. It's it's unbelievable. But back to the trading level, I
It's
would.
funny, but I think he's gonna get a lot of stuff done. He'll figure it out. You said it. Courts, no courts. He always figures it out.
But he never gets in. I think there's a trading term called nothing done. Like when you put an order in the marketplace and it doesn't trade, they come back and they go, nothing done. He's a nothing done guy. Nothing's getting done.
That's a good one too.
I'm just saying, nothing done.
That's from your pit days, right? From
Yeah.
have you ever seen anything like this? Like I don't know.
I would say that the move back from the bottom was something that I've never seen in that time frame. To move Nasdaq up 30+% in 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, is something I haven't seen. The down moves I've seen, I saw a down move like that many times. That's how the down moves usually happen. But usually there's a bit of consolidation and a move back up. But in this move, it just basically disregarded everything. And we talk, and we're about a 2% higher than whenever he was elected basically president. So the market's higher. Tariffs are not on, but supposedly on. And the market is climbing a wall of full uncertainty. And really, it's technology over and over again where they just are hiding. And I think, it's hard to say, and people are probably throwing things at the computer. They got the Larry doll where they're sticking like pins in my eye
Needles
and
and
stuff like that.
mhm.
But I think we're not going to end the year in a good spot. And the story is yet to be written. We're 5 months in, 5 full months done, and we're unchanged. And there's going to be a lot more uncertainty coming down the pipe here. And you haven't, it's interesting. You haven't seen countries like snap back. It's what we talked about. They're just sitting quietly and they're watching, our
They have
fool,
their
our,
popcorn out.
our
Yeah,
fool
I feel
game,
like
our
they have their
fool's game, and they know right now they're not even really being tariffed. So listen, look at all the car companies in the EU. Okay, they're tariffed 25%. They have not passed on a price increase on their vehicles. How is that possible? Are they making that much money? on the cars, or are they saying, hey, listen, this isn't going to stick for more than a month or two, so we'll eat it for a month or two and see where we are? And that's what I think has happened here.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed for the consumer for these products, but all of a sudden, if your $100,000 car goes up to 100 and a quarter, it changes the complexion of the game. So, that being said, you know, it's just an interesting, it's an interesting dilemma. But I'm thinking today, prices, um, if they go negative, we're going to get aggressive. Like S&P goes plus 10, plus 15, I'm going to add to my short. I think we're topping in here potentially, but we'll have to see how the market trades after the opening. Give it like 10, 15 minutes to see what's going on. Bonds reversed. They rejected the 450 level, and they're trading at about 445. 446, again, not big moves. The dollar is the surprising one. Dollar is weak again. Um,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit scary, the dollar. I mean, the next move looks potentially dollar lower. And then if this move was really real, what, crude is down. There's a lot of misdirection type stuff out there. So I think people should be careful. But our focus today will be the S&P. Look for lower prices. If it gets close to unchanged on the day, I would look to add to my short position. I have not added yet in the whole move. Thomas, do you have a price of a straddle today? What is it? 43.5. Wow. Guess what a straddle is today?
Well, I overheard him say it, so it's not going to be fun.
Okay.
But I would have guessed 50.
Why 50? Dude, yesterday it was 29. Why would it be 50 today? I don't know. It's 43. I don't know why you're guessing so high on an 18 volatility. The straddle is
Yeah, but the
actually
volatility is what? It's not zero DT vol. That's VIX. That's 20 days out.
zero DTE vol for everyone out there is priced every day off the at the money straddle for the most part. 17 and a half. Vol is only 17 and a half at 43. So yesterday we had like a 12 vol, maybe less. So today is pricing like we're gonna move, which I like. And
That was actually the tell last night when the S&P 500. I mean, the index is closed, but you can derive from the futures. And S&P 500, I believe, would have crossed 6,000 at the high. You look at a put on SPX, 100 points down. It was bid. It was bid. You could have gotten a put spread 100 points down. A 10-point spread for like $2. 100 points down. So I'm looking at that last night. I'm like, you know what? Everybody's excited, but the option market is kind of bidding up those puts 100 points down.
well, I think inherent vol in general, is priced that way. And, listen, there's something called put call parity, which we could get into, but basically it's the way they price all options. So if that's pricing high, the other side is pricing high. Everything
The other
has to be
side
in
was
line.
pricing high, but
Well,
I
everything
mean,
has to be in
when do you
line.
see a
That's the vol.
100 point down put bid like it was last night? To me, that was kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit. I'm like, okay, maybe there's a shot here at a
Well, I'll tell
reversal.
you what, on your 100-point down put, it's still 50 out. So you're not even, if that's the case, and I am going to look at that on the opening, 100, if I can get, what's 100 down
No,
put?
that was last night. Last night, I don't
I'm
know
just
where it is right
saying
now.
it's everything has come back in line. I don't, maybe because what is it?
You want to spread or the
Outright.
145 by 160.
Yeah, 100 points
What?
down from here is a dollar. There's nothing in this stuff.
Yeah, now. Last
Whatever.
night,
Still, 50 down is probably $3 or whatever. I don't know. Where's the 50 down? $6. So, you know,
huh?
it's a little expensive, but that's just unchanged on the day. I don't know. It doesn't seem like anything's pricing crazy, but we're going deep. It's 9:15. I want to get everybody ready for the opening. So again, this area is kind of mid-range. I would wait for a little bit more of a sell-off to get aggressive on the
Mm.
downside. If that doesn't happen, I would sit tight. If you're interested, you could sell an upside call spread that's about 40, 50 away from where we are, which is the highs of the day. I think that potentially can be safe. Um, Looking at the bond market, it's throwing out weird clues. Yields are on the low of the day right now as the dollar keeps ticking worse, which doesn't make sense. And then gold, as we say, there was an opportunity down there overnight, but right now I don't see an opportunity there. If it goes up a little more, maybe short a little potentially, but I'm a little leery that the market is toppy here. And that's how I would leave it today. I don't know if you have anything else you want to look at. Nvidia, again, we touched on big earnings last night. Straddle was pricing in a 7% move. You've had a 6% move. So pricing inside the straddle, and not a lot going on there. Market cap is extremely high. Maybe short a little Apple here, because potentially, you know, you're going to hear from Trump at some point today. So that should be
Yeah.
or should we say we're hearing from Mr. Taco? See if he chickens out again, or no. The next move is he's going to say max tariffs, and then 3 days later he's going to be like, I had an unbelievable call with blah blah blah. We don't even know who it is, and I've decided we're going to pause the tariffs for 2 weeks. So anyway, I wish everybody luck trading. I don't know if you have anything else you're looking at, but I'm
Well, you
pretty.
said it. He's going to say something today. I think there's a big probability that or somebody from his administration, and whatever they say, I don't think is gonna be the type of quote that the market is going to react positively to. And things look toppy. Usually, I don't watch CNBC during the day. Days like this, you should have some news stream up to assist you in your trading.
Yeah, you know what? I like getting it live. All these stations, when you're watching a delay, so it's and it's like watching a basketball game, young man. Okay, if I have a better stream than my son, he's like, "Don't tell me the last play." Like, so this is what we got here. Don't tell me the last play. So you're on a delay if you're watching CNBC. So be careful. You're never going to be fast like the algorithms. You're better off watching market action to assess what's going on. But anyway, I wish everyone luck trading today. Peace, and we'll be back. Actually, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is my AMA. Ask me anything. So you can send questions to feedback at the opportunistictrader.com if you have anything you want to learn about, talk about, or question me about. Write in and I'll be happy to answer the questions. And I wish everybody a very good weekend. Let's put a P on the page and let's go.
Let's go. Let's go Knicks tonight.
They need it. Take care.